live?
Yes.
Now?
Yeah, right now.
Like right now? Like right this second?
Yeah, right this second.
Right this second. Right now we're live. Okay, everybody. It is 7 o'clock Central Daylight Savings Time, Confederate Standard Time, and it's Monday, and you know what that means. It is time for your weekly episode of SCV Chat. Before we get started, as usual, the views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of the GEC, or excuse me, Sons Confederate Veterans, GEC, any division, brigades, camps, or other subsidiaries, strictly those of us who are expressing them. It's been a while since I've had to do a disclaimer due to that evil 4-letter occupational hazard I have to do every day, especially for the past couple weeks. But one would think that I would have just been able to flow right back into it, but I really didn't have it down that well to begin with. How you doing, Moose?
I'm good, GCB. Happy to have you back so everybody can make fun of you as host instead of me, and I can put all the pressure back on you.
No pressure on me. Y'all can still make fun of Moose. It is Moose season 24/7 in SCV chat. But yeah, good to see everybody back. Good to be back here for myself, especially. Glad to be sitting in the headquarters here and not sitting behind my desk at that 4-letter place. Glad to see everybody. Cousin Vinny, see him. Saw past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael up there, which reminds me, everyone, Moose, do we have the information about the SDLE Institute loaded in here?
Not loaded in here yet.
Well,
I was going to have past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael get on soon on Look Around the Confederation. He was going to be my guest in one of the upcoming weeks. Surprise, Chuck. And I was going to make him just do it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Too bad. Well, y'all can tune in for that, but the information for the SDLE Institute is out there. Depending on schedules with things, I'm going to try my darndest to be there. It's going to be in Mississippi. I'll be the first one we've hosted, I think, ever, so that'll be good. See the legend Paul Grambling Jr., damn it, in the chat. Jimmy Hill, how are you doing? Chuck McMichael says he is down for it. I hope it's not the struggle that he's down for. But yeah, I'm so glad to be back. I was doing the calculations, and yesterday was the first real day off I've had since October 2nd. So yes.
Bless his heart. Bless his heart.
Yes.
Let's give a round of applause to GCB.
Yeah, no. And even then, I've got by the end of Thanksgiving, by the Saturday following Thanksgiving, it'll be 9 Saturdays in a row. Yes.
Thank you, Commander. I'll Connor beat me to it. I blame him.
As far as talking about what the SDLE Institute is and what the theme for this year is, then you'll have to turn into Look Around the Confederation for that. Vinny, I love you to death, but we've been occupied and long enough down here with this Yankee weather. I'm not coming to. And this year will not be vegan. Has it been vegan in the past?
Vinny, brother.
No.
My
opinion is veganism is it's self-chosen veganism is a mental disorder.
Oh, we are already.
But no, it's been good. Good month here at least. I was I'm glad you saw the light. Anyway, it's been a decent month. My Vols they did good this past weekend. I've decided that from now on I'm going to start throwing mustard and golf balls at Harrison, just because of where he goes to school.
Dude,
that's
I got something funny to tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Well, I mean, we can talk about it live because I'm pretty sure they're going to get a kick out of it.
All right. Well, we're just killing a couple minutes, letting the folks come in before we bring our guest on.
Yeah. So everybody knows I have a makeshift office in one of my guest rooms in Oxford.
Wait, you mean you're not in the bed?
No, I'm not in a bed. I'm in this nice chair that I got from Walmart for about $10. But yeah. So like everybody knows, I posted a picture of it a long time ago on Look Around the Confederation that I have this makeshift office. I have a folding table, folding chair. You know, that way if someone or my family comes up, I can clean up this area really quickly. But little known fact is I also use that same table for the Grove and tailgating. And this weekend, me and my friend, one of my high school friends, you know, we like to tailgate ourselves, you know, at least once a year, and we picked the Liberty and Ole Miss game. And so, you know, I came up here after Look Around the Confederation, took down my office and took the table downstairs and got ready for the game. Well, someone stole my dadgum table Saturday and all my chairs. And they stole my original chair I had up here. And they stole the original SCV chat table I had up here, my work table. And it was a very nice table. And I'm very mad at you. And I want to let you know that I have informed the police. And so I completely forgot that my table was stolen. And I walked up the stairs to get ready for chat tonight. And all my crap is in the floor in boxes. And I realized really quickly, I have no table for tonight. So the reason I got on late, I told this to Victor, our guest tonight, was the fact that I had to go around my house trying to find a table for the show tonight. I finally found one deep in my garage, a little dusty, cleaned it up, brought it upstairs, and then I realized it is an absolutely huge table, and I've had to rearrange furniture in this guest room to fit it in. And so I've had a table. I had a table. I've had a day just getting ready for SCV chat tonight. So yeah, moral of the story is do not trust people with your table, and don't let it get stolen.
I wish I had in the arms the Sarah McLachlan song that they play for the ASPCA commercials. You know, your donation of $2.99 can help get Moose a new table.
Moose is going to need one for the Grove. I'm going to have to go out and buy one for when me and my family tailgate later on again in the season. But yeah, I have this huge table in here now that like is legit touching the wall to the guest bed, and like it's absolutely huge. It's getting weird to get used to. I'm legit having stuff strolled around my table. And my flags keep falling down, and it's getting annoying.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
It's been a day. I love all this.
I was gonna ask why you just didn't use the dining room table, but I imagine that my copy of With the Old Breed at Pellaloo and my helmet as a pillow are still sitting on that table, aren't they?
One of those objects are.
Yeah. Translation: Moose hadn't cleaned off the kitchen table since January.
Neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Anyway,
neither confirm or deny.
Well, we're back here. We're back. I don't think we have really any other news coming up tonight. If you remember last year, it was when we were doing it's before we launched Look Around the Confederation. We did a Veterans Day special on Veterans Day. Well, this year, because we do Look Around the Confederation with Matt on Thursdays, and Veterans Day is Thursday, Matt is gonna handle the real special, the real SCV chat special this upcoming Thursday. we're hosting the early special. Being the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we celebrate all American veterans. Pretty much 365 days a year. But we wanted to spend tonight paying special attention to some of our veterans who were descendants of Confederate soldiers. And Matt, I think has a pretty good planned show Thursday. You and he were working on it, right, Moose?
Oh yeah, we got a great episode. Matt has already come up with this great plan and a great episode, and it's a great episode that they all need to tune into. We'll be talking about how camp should be getting involved to help fellow veterans out. And with us being a veteran organization and these people serving us and giving us the rights to show our love for our Confederate veterans, it's always important to show our veteran support. And Matt will be going more into that. He's got all this great stuff that he already sent me to get ready for Thursday's show. So I cannot wait to see y'all there.
So it will be a great episode. You don't want to miss it. I will be doing that evil 4-letter word again. But it is what it is. But tonight we've got a special guest with us. We're going to actually take our commercial break a little bit early so we can bring him on afterwards and allow him to run all the way through. We're going to take our break a little bit early. Our break is, of course, sponsored by Victory Flags and More. Tomorrow, I'm planning on actually swinging by the shop and seeing Ray and them, so we can get the new Chad Head T-shirt, fully finalized and things like that, just in time for the after Christmas, things of that nature. And of course, all the videos that we do show on here are found on the MakeDixieGreatAgain.com website. If you haven't heard of Make Dixie Great Again, where have you been for the past 50 some odd weeks? If you're in the SCV and have been in the SCV for more than 4 years and you haven't heard of Make Dixie Great Again, where have you been for the past 4 years? This is, of course, the SCV's attempt to take back the narrative. It's led by Chief of Heritage Operations, Walter D. Donnie Kennedy, and his brother Ron. They're doing great things. If you tune into our Wednesday episode, our Wednesday rerun, I think it's a Kennedy twin rerun. I'm not sure. But we'll have one of those. But Moose, if you play the Robert E. Lee video, I would appreciate it, and we'll be back with our guest.
You were so lucky. I was going to play yours.
Yeah, I know. That's why I did that.
By the way, we've been doing this for like 60 weeks. This is either our 60th or 61st episode.
Yeah, it's almost at the end of the month. We'll mark 1 full year of us having the Facebook page up. So
you're getting old.
When my mother was in college, she danced with Confederate veterans. To me, it wasn't that far away. My father knew this. My mother knew this. Almost 50 years ago, I joined the Sons of Confederate Veterans. In those days, we weren't concerned about saving monuments or any of those things. That wasn't necessary. In fact, none of us had any remote idea that it would ever come up. We can't just sit there and react. We have to be proactive. Or, as Robert E. Lee said, the best way to disrupt your enemy's plans is to strike first. Everyone should do all in his power to collect and disseminate the truth, in the hope that it may find a place in history and descend to posterity. History is not the relation of campaigns and battles and generals or other individuals, but that which shows the principles for which the South contended and which justified her struggle for those principles. If you're looking for some place to be where you think you're going to accomplish something to save our history, go to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. I'm Thomas Lee Jesse. I'm a descendant of Private Daughtery Gilmer, a Confederate veteran.
All right. Just got a text message from Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears, who says that we're sounding good tonight, which is Great thanks. We thank J-Bo and everybody in the GEC for their who are watching for their watch. But before we get started, let's introduce our guest. We've got the man, the myth, the legend. Y'all saw him in the chat. Wanted to get behind the scenes, get out of the wings. Victor Smith from Florida, gentleman who made us our beautiful SCV chat cups. And Victor, do you want to tell everybody what you're doing with the cups before we get really started, or do you want to jump into your topic first?
Well, I thought first I was on let's talk about Southwest Florida with Sean McFall, but this is just as good. So
this is better. This is better.
I don't know.
We've got the news.
Seriously, check out Sean's videos. You'll learn everything every time. I know I do. He's one of the hardest working men in the Florida division, and we got a lot of them. And I'm proud to say that Thomas Jesse is a member of the Florida division. So there you go right there, folks. But before I get into the program, most of y'all have heard Adam talking about the museum cup that's either going to be raffled off or auctioned off. Until now, I am the only one that has seen it. For tonight's episode, here it is, folks. There is the SCV National Confederate Museum Cup. Not used to this camera. And all around it, you have our history and our legacy. You have UCV. You have the generals that are in the museum. Everything in between. I don't know how Adam's going to be giving it off or auctioning off or raffling off, but there it is. It is a one of one. I will never make one of these again. I don't care if you offered me $1 million. I don't care if you offered me the sword from Robert E. Lee himself. I will not make another one. This is for the National Confederate Museum. One of one. That's it. So there it is, folks.
If I got Robert E. Lee's sword, I'm not gonna lie.
See, I got kinship to Robert E. Lee. I don't need material possessions. I know that's in my blood.
No, I'll take that.
There it is. Well, I wouldn't. So there it is, folks. That cup will be shipped up to Elm Springs probably within the next week. It'll be in the hands of our executive director, Adam Southern. So I'm sure he'll release here soon exactly what we're going to do with it. But it is one of one. Never to be made again, at least by me. And it is 100% SCV made by an SCV member for the SCV, for our heritage, for our history.
We'll definitely tune in to the next Hearth and Home episode. Adam will hopefully have some information on that coming up. Anyway, while we were at the Chad Head dinner up in Columbia, God, it doesn't feel like the forest reinterment feels like it was a year ago. It doesn't feel like less than a month. Victor, you mentioned that you had this talk from Appomattox to Berlin. We figured that November was a perfect time for it. So at this time, we're going to turn the floor over to you.
I appreciate it. Before I begin, I'd like all the veterans that are watching, just type in the branch and the year you served in so that you can be recognized by your brothers for what you did and so that we can say thank you to y'all. To all of you that served at Vietnam, thank you for what you did. Welcome home. It's long overdue, but y'all deserved it. I was fortunate, in one way or another, to have my grandfather in my life for 2 years before he passed away. I'm blessed to have his name. He was Victor Edward Smith Sr. I'm the third. So I got to know my grandfather through stories from my family, through looking into his records and everything else. And he's what actually got this program started. And this is my grandfather right here. He served in the Coast Guard from 41 all the way to 1950 in the U.S. Coast Guard. He served aboard the U.S. Coast Guard Alexander Hamilton, which if you know your World War II history will know that was the first Coast Guard vessel lost in that war. 215 men were on board, 26 men ended up perishing. I actually told this story to J-Bo when he was still AOT commander and he came down to Florida. But my grandfather was what got me started, and it shows what the Southern people do. We are patriots. We are proud of where we're from. We're part of it's God, family, country. Those are the top three for us, at least in my heart. And we just got to look at history. I mean, look at how many well-known military men were from the South. The very first commander-in-chief of our armed forces wasn't a Yankee. It was a Virginian with George Washington. I mean, even after the war, even in pop culture, they were showing what the Confederate veterans are doing for our country as a whole. We look at the Spanish-American War. General Joseph Wheeler, Confederate cavalry general, was in charge of the cavalry forces in Cuba during the Spanish-American War. Mind you, he was white as white could be when it comes to his beard and hair and wasn't a big man, but he was leading those troops. She wore yellow ribbon. When troopers were killed, one of them was revealed to be a former Confederate general. These men served their country, and their descendants did. So when I started digging in my grandfathers, and I'm blessed that I'm his grandson, because without him, I would not be a son of a Confederate veteran. So I started digging in, and I said there had to be more than them. And we're going to touch base on a few of them tonight. A lot of them are notables and made big contributions to our victory in World War II. And we're going to start off, of course, with a man that really did a whole hell of a lot. And that was Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz. He saw action Coral Sea, Midway, Solomon Islands, Iwo Jima, Okinawa. He actually has a super carrier named after him, the USS Nimitz. He saw our submarine fleets go from gas to diesel all the way up until nuclear power. His grandfather was actually a German immigrant who served as a merchant marine in Germany. And when he came over here, he joined the Texas Rangers in 1851. And when the Civil War, or the War of Northern Aggression, started to take form, he joined up and was a captain in a Gillespie's rifle company out of Texas. So there's a big one right there that we can say kept us from falling to the Axis, but still had his Confederate blood and was still proud of it. We're going to hit base on about 10 of these guys going through that all have something interesting about them and their contributions to the war. Of course, we have General Omar Bradley, who was Patton's right-hand man for a number of years. His father was a Confederate veteran, Thomas Minster Bradley. But Bradley himself was the last general to hold the title of General of the Army. There was only 9 men in history to hold that office. Of course, he was head of the VA, and believe it or not, when he retired, he was retired active for 27 years until his death in 1981. So Confederate blood served almost his entire adult life. He was also the chairman for the Joint Chiefs, the very first chairman of that group. We keep going. Of course, we got Brigadier General Nathan Bedford Forrest III. He was Nathan Bedford Forrest's grandson, B-17 pilot, and from what I've read with him is he did not leave his post even when the plane was going down. Tried to save as many of his crew as he could. He perished. One person survived, and he was the first American general to be killed in the European theater. What can you say about that? Man gave all for his country. You can't shake a fist at that. Simon Bolivar Buckner Jr. Was Lieutenant General in the U.S. Army. Pacific Theater, was leading an amphibious assault in Okinawa on April 1st, 45. He was the son of General Simon Bolivar Buckner, but he was our highest-ranking casualty of World War II. These men gave all. You can't say anything bad. I mean, the next one that I got to bring up is the last person you would ever think would have Confederate ancestors. And when I looked this up, it blew my mind. And that's Brigadier General Theodore Roosevelt Jr. Born and bred in New York State. Family's from New York State. He was the son of Theodore Roosevelt. He was the only general to land. He was the only general to land with the first wave during D-Day. At the age of 56, he was the oldest man to land, and he was the only soldier to land with his son during the same invasion. Mind you, he was not of good health at all. He had arthritis and a heart condition. When the landing craft actually landed on the beach, they found out they were about a mile off course from where they needed to be. He went on the beach with a cane and a Colt 1911 and did the recon himself. But he also landed on the beaches with his son, who at the time was a captain, was promoted to major, and that was Quentin Roosevelt Jr. The general landed on Utah. His son landed on Omaha. General Roosevelt was actually supposed to be promoted to Major General. It had gone all the way up to Eisenhower, and it was set to go through, but sadly Roosevelt actually died of a heart attack before it became official. He was actually sleeping in a captured sleeper truck that was captured by the U.S. troops. But their Confederate ancestors were actually President Theodore Roosevelt's uncles, Irvin S. Bullock and James Dunwoody Bullock. Both of them served in the Confederate Navy and served honorably. They were Theodore Roosevelt's uncles on his mother's side. And if you ever watch the TV movie Rough Riders, Tom Bergeron cracks me up with the one line of, "My mother used to make us grits every morning, and if we were good, she put cheese in them." And I think most of us can agree that any good Southern mother making breakfast, if you're good, you either get sugar and cinnamon in it, or you get nice cheese in them. But don't give me that look, GCB. Don't go there.
Sugar does not belong in grits. Butter and Tabasco.
I don't like grits, so I can't comment on this.
I just want to point this out that, GCB says him and Adam are twins. I say I belong in the triplets. I mean, come on, just take a look at us here. But yes, sugar and cinnamon does belong in grits, whether GCB likes it or not.
I don't even eat grits. That just doesn't sound right, man. I'm sorry. Why don't you say for once?
Moose, you're a moose. You eat out of a lake. You're the last one to be commenting on gourmet. God, GCB, why didn't you tell me moose season was so entertaining?
It's much fun. It's what I look forward to every week.
Yeah, but it's much more fun when you're live and in person and not trying to type and keep up with everybody.
I would like to announce my resignation from SCV chat.
Yeah, no, we've already took a vote. You're not allowed to resign. Vinny, that's strike 2.
Vegan honey grits?
Watch out, GCB. He'll call you a Ute.
Yeah. What? What was that word?
Yeet.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry.
I'm
Mama
going to have to
Grambling
bring
wins.
back.
I can't.
Mama Gremlin always wins.
I cannot argue with Miss Linda. The rest of y'all are fair game, but Miss Linda, nope. I surrender. I give.
Anyway,
But yeah, going back to these guys that really, to quoting George C. Scott in the movie Patton, grabbed him by the nose and kicked him in the ass. You can't get mad at me, Moose. That's a quote. But
well, y'all evil to me. You know deadgum well I haven't got that beat button situated yet.
hey, we love you. You know that. If I didn't love you, do you think I'd make you a cup?
Fair enough. I do like that cup. I got some compliments on it this weekend again.
Woohoo! Victory for me. Go Florida. That's for you, Matt Singleton. I know you're watching somewhere. But yeah, going now back to the news that took place 70 years ago. These next two guys, we had Howe and Howe in the British military during the Revolutionary War, and these were the Wetchell brothers. We had Colonel James Longstreet Wetchell and Rear Admiral David Lee Wetchell, and I'll give y'all 2 seconds to guess who they're related to.
1, 2.
Come on, folks, type in your answers. But yeah, Colonel Wetchell actually was a West Point graduate in 1918. All right. Yeah, she's lucky she's my girlfriend, or I'd acknowledge that. But I'll pray for that comment later.
You on the chat with Mississippi boys. Better be careful there, dude.
But anyway, hey, Florida's invading Mississippi, and let's see, I'll have to ask my girlfriend, but I think it's about 9 days, 20 hours and change. Not like she's counting or anything. Yeah, back to the colonel here. West Point graduate in 1918, fought in North Africa, Italy, and southern France during his career. His brother seemed to do a bit more. He was a submarine commander at the beginning of the war, ended up earning a Silver Star, Bronze Star, and 3 Navy Commendation Medals. Served in the Pacific and was also a Naval Academy graduate, class of 1930. And they are both the grandsons of General James Pete Longstreet. This guy, when I started reading about him, he's got ties to my family too. I actually have pictures of this man pinning stars on my ancestors' uniform. And that's Harry S. Truman.
Yeah.
Truman had an uncle.
I was going to say, Truman was a member of the SCV.
Yes, he was. Proud card-carrying member of the SCV through his uncle, William Young. But believe it or not, he served in World War I as a artillery captain, but he was legally blind. He cheated in order to serve. Believe it or not, he actually memorized the eye chart so that he could go in and get approved to serve in the Army. And I swear, if you two don't knock it off backstage, when I see the two of y'all, I'm knocking your heads together.
Backstage is fun.
Backstage is usually why me and Connor are always smiling.
When you're trying to go off notes and you see the little chats going on over here, it kind of makes it difficult. Good Lord.
Don't give away our secrets. Come on, man. Don't give away our secrets.
Hey, y'all brought me on here. Y'all knew I got the gift of gab. Good Lord. Lord, forgive these two. They know not what they do. But what made Truman noteworthy as far as World War II, not only taking over after FDR passed away, but it was under his watch that both we had VE Day and VA Day under his leadership. And in our entire history as a country, he is the only president to authorize the use of nuclear weapons during wartime. All right, that's it. Mutt and Jeff up there, you two, that's strike two. I warned y'all.
I am. That was him. I'm checking the chats. I'm being a good boy.
I'm have the monitors on my screen. I'm checking us on Facebook and on YouTube, making sure all is going well.
We're doing co-producer things.
It takes a lot to run the show, man. I'm telling you, it takes two. Me and Connor both have to try our hardest to keep the show running straight.
Let me ask, while we got a little lull here, let me ask Chuck McMichael one thing. When was Lejeune adjutant in chief? I'm assuming that had been before General McCain was. Waiting. He'll respond in a second. Because I did not realize that he had served as adjutant in chief. I knew that General McCain had, and I'm assuming that's what AIC stands for. But if that's true, that's really cool. He's talking about Commandant Marine Corps Lejeune. Yeah, back in the 50s. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Legend, I just got the picture, but I can't comment on Facebook right now because Facebook has put a temporary ban on my SCV page from commenting. So they look great. Those cups are awesome. So thank you for sending them to me.
Anyway, Victor.
Yes. Oh, it's my turn now?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. So now I can go on to probably the biggest name on the list that everyone and their mother knows, and that's of course General George S. Patton. I could probably do a whole show on Patton himself. I mean, he's got multiple ties to Confederate veterans. His grandfather, of course, General George Smith Patton. But he also had a great uncle who was a lieutenant colonel and a West Point graduate, and that was Waller T. Patton. Both of them were actually killed in battle during the war. Lieutenant Colonel Patton died of wounds from Gettysburg, if memory serves me right. But on top of that, believe it or not, Mosby, Colonel Mosby actually made it out to California when Patton was a youngster, and actually went riding with him, teaching him cavalry tactics. So there's tied to three pretty notable Confederates right there. But what can you say about George S. Patton besides the phrase "complete badass"? I mean, he had a sword named after him that he designed. He attempted to make a cannoneer's uniform or a tanker's uniform. He was sent down to go after Pancho Villa, and they were sent out for supplies, but he heard that two of his right-hand men were in a farmhouse, and went after them, killed them, and came riding back into camp with them tied to the fenders of the vehicle. He actually saved Eisenhower's life. I believe it was during World War I. They were going through tank training. They were pulling a tank out when the cable snapped, and Patton pulled Eisenhower away and saved his life. But something that isn't known a lot about Patton is that he actually helped save the Lipizzan Stallions. If you're not familiar with them, prior to World War II, it was the aristocrats that saw them and only them. They're solid white horse. They were war horses. You can actually see them today. They do travel the United States doing shows. They're still in the Herman family. when I was in my teens, I had the privilege of meeting Colonel Ottomar Hermann, who worked with Patton to get them out of Austria to save them from Hitler. And he was a Austrian colonel, very interesting guy. And through him, I actually met Patton's son before he passed away. You can't say enough about him. If you ever just called those horses the Lipizan stallions, the colonel would snap his riding crop against his boot, look at you with a military glare with his hand up and go, "No, the original Lipizan stallions." No matter how you said it. But these men gave all. You can't say enough about veterans. Thank you all for what you've done. I know you've given up your time, your energy, life, limb, and everything in between just to make sure that we have the freedoms that we have today. Even to be here and talking like the way we do, that's because of you. And I can't thank y'all enough. So that's my little bit, just enough to get y'all digging into, what else these men did, but it's enough to really make you appreciate everything they went through to defeat Hitler, defeat the Japanese and Mussolini, just so that we didn't have to worry about it.
Well, one of mine that I mentioned earlier that I want. Well, two of mine I'm going to mention. The first one is very special to the SCV. To kind of piggyback off of what we're talking about, is Dr. W.D. McCain. Dr. McCain was adjutant-in-chief forever and reorganized the SCV and essentially saved the SCV. When he took over, we had roughly 1,400 members nationwide and grew it to the organization that we are today. We wouldn't have Elm Springs without him. At the age of 17, he got his parents' permission to enlist in the Mississippi Army National Guard. After going to boot camp and everything like that, he went to college, became an archivist, and was stationed up in New Jersey, of all places, Cousin Vinny. And then got transferred to the, got transferred to the Library of Congress. When World War II began, his unit was called up and he manned an anti-aircraft battery, and then served as a monuments man in Italy, and was responsible for saving, I think, 11 box cards full of Italian records dating, hundreds and hundreds of years back that would have been lost without him and the work that he did, oftentimes going behind enemy lines to do that. General McCain, like I said, later came back to the United States, became president of the University of Southern Mississippi, was instrumental in starting the ROTC program there, and again was adjutant-in-chief for forever during the later, last half of the last century. And while he won the Robert E. Lee Award, he has never won the Jeff Davis Chalice. And I hope that one day we rectify that, because there would not be an organization without him.
Great.
The second one is my great-grandfather, Daddy Walk Slay. His grandfather was the gentleman I joined the SCV under, Captain Nathan W. Slay, who lost an eye at the Battle of Shiloh, left Confederate service for roughly most of 1863, re-enlisted in November of 63, if memory serves correct, served under Fighting Joe Wheeler and Bedford Forrest. And I've got a copy of, it's actually in my sack coat that I carried to Gainesville, and I wore at the Forest Reinterment, a copy of his signed parole that he when he left out of the war. Daddy Walk served as a member of the United States Marine Corps in World War I. Fought all in the major engagements that the Marine Corps was in, including the Battle of Belleau Wood, where they got the nickname the Devil Dogs, and to all of the Marines out there. Y'all got 2 days, and it'll be the Marine Corps' birthday again. So just wanted to shoot that out there.
My family, according to my genealogy and my records, has been serving in the U.S. military since the War of 1812 and been in just about every engagement we've been in since. And believe it or not, in all that time, we have not had a single Marine.
No, we've got several. Daddy, last year 2 years ago for Christmas, I got a copy of, and it's hanging in the foyer. The parlor, just outside the foyer. A copy of his picture that when he just left Paris Island in his uniform, and I'm actually in the beginning stages of piecing together a World War I Marine uniform.
Very nice. I think something that I overlooked and a lot of people overlooked is the animal veterans that go in with the humankind. That's been going on for hundreds of years. I mean, I believe it was the 11th Mississippi that Douglas the Camel. I know there was a Pennsylvania regiment during the war. Close enough. I'm Florida, not Mississippi. That, and I don't know sign language.
That was 4-3.
Good insight. But I know there was a Pennsylvania regiment that had I believe it was a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and she would guard the troops that were wounded, and she's immortalized in Gettysburg. But in World War I, I believe his name was Stubbs, or Stubby, was a dog that got snuck over and was actually made a sergeant, received medals just like a standard soldier, actually saved his troops from what I read. The Germans were trying to sneak attack, and he started barking like a normal guard dog should, woke up the company he was with, and they ended up capturing the Germans. But, I mean, even up to today, the Marine Corps still has a mule pack team. The Army still has the cavalry team. So we still have animals that are out there going right alongside the humans and putting their lives on the line to give us the freedom that we have too.
You know who came up with the camel?
I believe it was Davis when he was Secretary of War.
Mm-hmm.
See, these glasses are more than just for seeing. They make me look like a sophisticated nerd.
Actually, I was doing research on it because I'm trying to do an event representing that unit in Vicksburg this next summer. I found a place online where you can actually buy camel meat. The boys ended up eating the camel, but that camel was not part of the Camel Corps as people believe. It was a private purchase camel that people thought that they could use to plow with.
Believe it or not, that's how the first elephant came into the United States. Someone thought that it would be a great farm animal, and when it failed, he started touring it around as a sideshow act.
And if anybody would like to get in on the event where we may be eating camel meat in Vicksburg, you can private message me.
I know where you can get a mean old ostrich. My girlfriend knows what I'm talking about too. But, it really is amazing when you start digging into these stories and realize what these men did. It wasn't just all hardship. There was happy times too. A lot of people don't know that the Confederate battle flag was raised on Iwo Jima. They just think it was that one, the famous image captured, when in reality that was, I think, the third flag raised on Mount Suribachi. The first was a battle flag, I believe, followed by an American flag, and they said it was too small to be seen, so they raised the third one.
I'm not going to comment on that, Doug. I've got my handy-dandy copy of Dixie Rising that I keep right beside my computer, right beside my copy of the Jefferson Bible. I'm trying to see if I can find that picture that the Kennedy boys have in here. But I think that may be in my copy of the South is Right that's sitting on my desk, actually. but it's of the Alabama. It's the Dixie Division Color Guard, but I think the National Guard of Alabama, where they're carrying the federal flag, the state flag of Alabama, and the battle flag. And this was like in the 1960s or so. If y'all go back and watch the episode that we talk about that in, you know the picture I'm talking about. And that's just the pride and esprit de corps that the Southern soldiers had left over from the war all the way to modern day. I mean, I know that we have a battle flag that was over in, I believe it was in Iraq or Afghanistan, up at headquarters.
You know, what can you say about flags in combat? I mean, not even combat. I mean, just look behind GCB and Moose. Moose is, I mean, they're pride, period. They're pride materialized.
Mm-hmm.
And actually,
when the state legislature took our right to vote away on the state flag, I actually submitted the Claiborne flag as a design. It didn't make it, obviously, but I love it because it can never, if it was a national flag, it could never be flown in distress.
Believe it or not, Marion County, which is just north of me, about 5 miles, when Florida was about to do their secession convention, the delegates were told, you go to Tallahassee and you tell them that Marion County votes for secession. And if Florida doesn't vote for secession, you tell them Marion County votes to secede from Florida. That's how much they believed in the Confederate cause. They even had their own secession flag made for the county. It was basically a reverse Bonnie blue flag. So it was white background with a blue star in the middle. And there's little dispute over what the wording was, but some say it was leave us alone. Others say it was let us alone.
Hey, and what did Daddy Moose do?
What do you mean what he did?
Before when you were still a twinkling in his eye, what was he?
He was in the Navy.
And what was his job in the Navy?
He was a Navy SEAL, and that's why I'm still deadly afraid of that man.
And how tall is he?
He is
too tall.
He is basically the Punisher. And I told people that at school, and they didn't believe me until they took his class. And then they were like, yep, he's the Punisher. And I was like, see?
Good old DM.
Oh, yeah. I only heard his voice before I met him at the Chat Head dinner. And then I saw him at the Chat Head dinner, and it was, hello, sir. Mind you, it took me about an hour to get back to see him, considering that that back room was packed like a can of sardines.
Yeah, we accidentally sold out a restaurant. Didn't mean to do that bad.
We're sorry.
But yeah, flags. Yeah, this flag I love. I love the real Mississippi flag, and I always call it the real Mississippi flag. I mean, I've got 5 or 6 of these. I took one to the game. That was gifted to me while I was an early student up here, and I mean I've even got one made I'm going to try to get one made soon that will drape the casket when the Lord calls me back home, and I will have the words on the screen. My final goodbye is to piss off all the snowflakes in the room.
My girlfriend and I have had this conversation. I told her point blank, when the good Lord calls me home, I want to be buried in a Confederate uniform, and I want to have a 44 Remington loaded, primed, cocked, and rigged in case anybody opens that coffin again to try to take my battle flag out of my hands. So don't get any ideas, Moose. Just because I'm dead and gone doesn't mean you can get revenge on my grave.
I know what our Christmas episode's going to be.
We don't need that comment. We don't need that comment.
Anyway, guys, well, I think we've been at it for about 55 minutes, give or take. it's a pretty good place to stop here. Victor, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate everything you've done as one of our favorite chat heads. Remember, guys, tune in Thursday to look around the Confederation with Matt Singleton. Next week's episode, we're not going to tell y'all who we've got. We're going to keep it as a little bit of a surprise.
Oh, so I shouldn't tell them that it's going to be me again?
Next week's episode, we're going to keep it kind of a little bit as a surprise. Have some good suspense. Okay.
I'll be good, I promise.
Bad news. It'll be a little bit of a surprise. We're going to keep some suspense building for them. To all of our veterans out there and all of our active servicemen that will become veterans one day, thank you for your service and everything, willing to lay down your life for our country, for our freedoms. Thank you for continuing that Southern tradition that was started in 1776. Actually before then with the French and Indian War, and all the way through today. Our thoughts and prayers are with you no matter where you go. We wouldn't be able to enjoy the freedoms that we do have here without y'all. We really, our hearts go out to you and we thank you. Remember, Thursday, look around the Confederation. It's going to be a great episode with Matt. I look forward to watching it. Wednesdays. Yeah. Wednesdays is our rerun episode. It'll be one of the episodes with the Kennedy twins. We're looking to eventually grow to an everyday thing. So that's something to look forward to. We're slowly starting to grow there. But until then, in the words of the late, great Harold Philpotts, no Fumar in the elevator.
No Fumar in the elevator.
Red or frog?
Rare frog.